Konnichiwa, console kiddies and PC pals. My name's Ian Higton and I'll be your host for the next half hour as Platform32 brings you 6 exclusive interviews and previews featuring some of the best up-and-coming games that you guys will be able to play to your heart's content in the near future. Coming up on the show, we'll be chatting about the jaw-dropping free-to-play PC game Blacklight Retribution with Zombie Studios' Gerritzen. We'll be enlightening you about The Darkness 2 with help from the game's lead designer Tom Galt. We'll be scaring you silly as we beat off zombies with Satoshi Ito in our Rise of Nightmares feature. Jim Sumwalt from Human Head Studios will be getting us all excited about Prey 2, and we'll be hearing from Sean Robertson, lead artist from Irrational Games, as he wets our metaphorical whistle for Bioshock Infinite. But before we get cracking on any of those fantastic features, how about some info on one of the most anticipated sci-fi shooters of 2012, Aliens Colonial Marines? You want? Yes? Well, good. So sit back, relax and listen to the words which spew from the mouth of this lovely chap from Gearbox Software who's about to introduce himself in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Brian Burleson. I am the lead producer on Aliens Colonial Marnines, and you're watching Platform32.
First things first, let me apologise for the fact that there really isn't much info regarding the actual game in this Aliens Colonial Marines preview feature. It's not like I didn't try to find out some stuff for you though. Look, just check this out.
Can you tell us a little bit about the multiplayer aspect, the co-op?
I can't talk about multiplayer.
How much did you work with the Ridley Scott and people who worked on the original films?
I can't actually do that on tape.
Sorry?
I can't talk about that on tape.
Can't do that, okay. And I guess you can't say much about the Wii U stuff either.
No. Nintendo has to announce that stuff before we talk about it.
So it looks like the company are making Brian Burleson, the lead producer of Aliens Colonial Marines, keep his mouth shut about the most classified details of the game. But he was kind enough to give me some basic info about the game and whereabouts in the film franchise timeline it takes place.
Aliens Colonial Marines is a spiritual successor to the Aliens movie. It's something that I think that people have been wanting for a while, because after you saw the Aliens movie, you saw Alien 3, which Alien 3 is a great movie, but there's still something that's missing. You still want to see what happened after Aliens. We want to see what happens after Alien 3. Where that fire? Why were they ejected onto the planet? And then we saw Alien 3, and that was cool. That was a great experience. But it wasn't really like it. There's a fantasy that we really want to see that we didn't get a chance to see, and so this is what we're doing. We're actually going back to Hadley's Hope and seeing this.
So a return to Hadley's Hope, the planet in the film Aliens, eh? That should prove to be pretty darn awesome. Now, the game will feature 4-player drop-in, drop-out co-op, and from the gameplay demo we watched in Sega's booth during E3, it looks set to be a non-stop, crap-your-pants onslaught of face-hungry xenomorphs. The demo was playing the game were constantly telling each other where the aliens were attacking from, so it's clear that Sega and Gearbox really want you to experience the feeling of being part of a group of Marines. Teamwork will play a massive part in the game if you want to really experience it to the full. All the familiar weapons were there, and we also saw a glimpse of a power loader, so I asked Brian how authentic the game was to the Aliens universe.
So, in the game, you see a lot that you actually saw from the movie. You see pretty much all the designs that you see were being authentic too. So you get the pulse rifle, the smart gun, all the things that you saw that you want to actually play. You get to do that.
Classy! Thanks for taking the time to talk to us, Brian. It's obvious that Sega and Gearbox want to keep a lot close to their chests in terms of the actual game for now, but what I can say is that judging from the gameplay demo I saw, all us Alien fans are in for a massive treat. The sounds, the visuals, and the heart-pumping, fear-soaked action which was present in the film Aliens are all spot on, and as wave after wave of xenomorphs attacked the Marines, it was hard not to feel panicked and overwhelmed. And that was just from watching it. Fingers crossed for more details soon, because this is one game I cannot wait for. So, how long am I going to have to wait, Brian?
Aliens Colonial Marines will be coming out spring 2012 on the Windows PC, Xbox 360, and PS3. And, if you saw yesterday, there's an announcement that we're part of the Wii U announcement.
Ooh, Wii U. Could you imagine using those little screens on your controller as motion trackers while playing the game on your big telly? That would be the best thing ever! Literally!
I'm Jared Gerritzen, project lead on Blacklight, and you're watching Platform 32.
The follow-up to Tango Down, Blacklight Retribution, not only follows firmly in its predecessor's footsteps as a fast-paced action shooter, but Zombie's new title also intends to push boundaries when this game is released on the PC as a free-to-play game. But what are the advantages of free-to-play? I asked Jared Gerritzen, project lead on Blacklight Retribution, and these noises came out of his mouth hole.
With it being a free-to-play, we're allowed to update monthly with new content. We're going to have new maps for free every 2 months, and we're really following up to the Blacklight franchise with something really special in it.
For those of you unfamiliar with Blacklight Tango Down, one of the coolest parts of the game was its futuristic interpretation of modern day weaponry, with one of the most standout items being your hyper-reality visor, also known as the HRV, which allowed you to see your opponents anywhere on the battlefield with the touch of a button. Flashbang grenades were upgraded to combat the HRV, so they momentarily crashed your visor and sent it into blue screen of death mode, while smoke grenades caused a digital distortion on the battlefield to block your view. While all these features remain in Retribution, I was keen to know what other new tech and weaponry we would be able to get our hands on.
The new tech in Blacklight is really the hard suit for one. It's a giant mechanized tank that you can get and call in and run around and beat the hell out of people. We've taken a lot of overpowered weapons that we don't want to put into a loadout and put it into something called a weapons depot, and you buy everything through that by getting kills or capturing points or just doing any gameplay systems, and then you can come in and get these super weapons. And those range from like a grenade launcher that when you shoot it sticks onto someone, and then an airstrike falls pretty much onto them and just pretty much chase people with flamethrowers and rocket launchers that are kind of like I'd say like Macross drunken rockets. They just blow up and they shoot all over the place.
I don't know if you spotted it, but in that interview footage that was played just then, you could see in the background, in soft focus sadly, one of the weapon depots Jared was talking about actually being used. Here you can see the player buying something and then shooting a beacon at the floor, which causes a hard suit to be dropped in from the skies. Badoosh! Money well spent and time to get your roboto on. The game looks stunning and the build we got to play with ran really well, so I would definitely recommend heading to www.playblacklight.com now to sign up for the beta, which will be available when?
We are planning on doing beta Q4 of this year, so very soon.
Awesome, thanks Jared, can't wait. Now, if only we could get the game released on consoles. Come on Zombie, you know you want to. Sweet, part 1 is down and we've already found out about 2 immense futuristic shooters. When we come back from the break though, we'll be going all supernatural as we speak to those in the know about The Darkness 2 and Rise of Nightmares. Ooh, spooky. Welcome back friends, I hope the wait for part 2 wasn't that agonising. Features on Prey 2 and Bioshock Infinite will be smacking you square in the optic nerves later on in the show, but in this part, which I like to call the middle part, we'll be speaking to Satoshi Ito, the producer of the recently released Connect-based zombie punchathon Rise of Nightmares, but first it's time to welcome back Jackie Estacado and his talkative tendrils as we find out all about The Darkness 2. From this guy. What's your name, guy?
Hi, my name is Tom Galt. I'm lead designer on Darkness 2, and you're watching Platform 32.
Jackie Estacado, in the flesh.
Ah yeah, The Darkness 2. If I could be bothered now would be a great time to make a joke about Justin Hawkins, but I can't, so I'm not going to. I thought The Darkness was a great game, and if I'd been doing Platform 32 around the time of its release, I would have totally given it a good review. The sequel, which has been imaginatively titled The Darkness 2, follows on from the first game, but the series is now in the hands of a new developer, and they've given Jackie Estacado and his Darkling buddies a major graphical and gameplay makeover. Curious to find out more, I grabbed onto Tom Galt, the lead designer of The Darkness 2, with my tendrils, so I could ask him some questions before I ate his heart from straight out of his chest. What's the game about, Jack? Oh, sorry. Tom. Sorry. What?
So Darkness 2 continues the great story from Darkness 1. We start 2 years after the first game, you know. At the end of the first game, Jackie killed his Uncle Paulie. He became the Don of the family. So after that, you know, we're 2 years later, we've kept the Darkness bottled up for those 2 years until a day at a restaurant. You're being attacked, you know, and it's a strange organization, it's strange guys. They captured Jackie, and they're torturing him. They want the Darkness. The only way he can escape and survive is by actually bringing the Darkness back out and using it again. So that kicks off the events of our game. And Jackie spends most of the game searching for these guys. Who are they? What do they want? It turns out they're the Brotherhood. They're led by a man named Victor Valente. And the Brotherhood is actually this ancient organization. They, when they were first made thousands of years ago, they were a force for good. They actually wanted to keep the Darkness bottled up. They didn't want it to destroy the world, so they were trying to keep it contained. But over time, the Darkness corrupted them, and it actually turned them into this evil force that now, as you saw in the game, is trying to steal the Darkness from Jackie to use for their own good.
The Darkness is well cool. Everyone wants it, man. But why? Well, along with the Darkness come some very cool abilities, which in the first game, among other things, included the ability to summon different types of imp-like Darklings that could attack your enemies. What new Darkness powers will be present in the Darkness 2?
We have a lot for the players to explore when they're playing the game. We have our quad wielding system, and that's our 2 demon arms and guns. You can slash guys with 1 demon arm, you can grab objects and enemies with the other demon arm, all while shooting your guns. So it creates a really engaging combat system where you can slash a guy into the air, you can grab him, you can toss him at somebody else while you're shooting a new guy. You know, so you can combine all these powers in interesting ways. It's a lot of fun. And on top of that, actually, we have a progression system. So you earn essence for every kill, and you spend essence to upgrade your powers at talent shrines. So we have things like allow you to upgrade your weapons to make them better. You can get new powers and upgrade those powers. You can, you know, buy the black hole to get that power. The one we showed here at the demo was called gun channeling. When you activate gun channeling, it actually channels the Darkness into your guns, allowing you infinite ammo and amp damage for a short period of time. So lots of cool things like that for players to explore while they're playing through the game.
Thanks, Jackie. Tom. Bloody cough. Fans of story-driven, gore-soaked first-person shooters should be marking February the 10th, 2012 into their calendars as soon as possible so they can get their pre-order on for the Darkness 2, because the next chapter in the story of Jackie Estacado is looking awesome. Isn't it, Jackie? Oh man, I'm off to get some strepsils. See ya. Jackie!
プラットフォーム32をご覧の皆さん、こんにちは。ライズ・オブ・ナイトメアのプロデューサーの伊藤と申します。よろしくお願いします。
This is Rise of Nightmares from SEGA, and it's set to be the first adults-only Kinect exclusive game, which could end up being the first title to actually live up to Microsoft's core promise. Desperate to know more, I missioned to a press event to try it out for myself and have a chat with the game's producer, Satoshi Ito. Ito-san, tell us everything.
このゲームはですね、キネクトを使ってコントローラーを持たないで、体感する、ホラーのアクションアドベンチャーという形になっています。一つの特徴としては、ホラーというところで、体感なんですけど、もう一つなんですか、フリーローミング、自由移動っていうのを、このゲームの中で実現しているというところですね。
A free roaming system in a Kinect game poses a problem. How do you actually walk around when you have to remain in front of the sensor? The developers have implemented quite a clever system here, whereby you keep your left foot rooted to the spot while you move your right foot either forwards or backwards depending on which direction you want to travel. The further out your foot, the faster you move, while changing direction is achieved by twisting your upper body. I'm not going to lie to you, this control scheme takes a long time to get used to, and it's very sensitive, so it's easy to turn or move too far. But after some practice, it actually becomes quite comfortable to use. If you get too stuck though, you can raise your right hand above your head, rock fist style, which puts the game onto automatic mode and your character will travel to the next destination by itself. Be warned though, you will miss out on hidden weapons and items doing it this way. You cheater. So Ito-san, do you think the use of Kinect will help immerse people into this horrific adventure that you've created?
そうですね。もうまさに目指していたところがそこで、やっぱりコントローラーを持たないで、画面の前に、立った時に、非常に心細いと、そういうのを、体験できるような、ものになっているかなと思います。
So you firmly believe that using the body rather than the controller will make things feel more real?
画面の前に立って動いているっていうのが、そのまま自分の、視点と同じ高さで、繰り広げられているわけですから、そうですね、それに対して、もう本当何も持ってないわけですから、もうその辺にあったものを拾って襲いかかる敵にこう倒すというところですかね。
So when will horror fans in the UK be able to work up a sweat with the undead?
そうですね、9月の9日発売になります。はい、もう間もなくです。
Well, there you go. Disappointed Kinect owners and horror fans should definitely give Rise of Nightmares a try. The innovative controls mean that every motion you perform mirrors the on-screen actions, which increases the believability of the game, and while there's going to be a steep learning curve when it comes down to getting used to playing it, the feeling of chainsawing a zombie's face off in the comfort of your own home is well worth the price of the game if you're sick to death with cuddling your stupid Kinectimal. Nice. Well, that's the middle part done. Stay tuned to Platform 32 for the endy bit, which features exclusive interviews about Prey 2 and Bioshock Infinite, because it's coming up straight after these messages from our sponsors. And when I say sponsors, I actually just mean plain normal random adverts, because we don't actually have any sponsors. It just sounded cooler than saying adverts, but I guess I just kind of ruined that one now. Kapow! It's video games news for your face. We've had a pretty awesome show so far, and it's only going to get better now in our final section, because not only do we have insider info on Bioshock Infinite incoming, but some dude who stood under what looks like a disco light is just about to tell us all about Prey 2. Who are you, dude, and what do you do?
Hello, my name's Jim Sumwell, Chief Creative Officer at Human Head Studios, developer of the upcoming Prey 2, and you're watching Platform 32.
When Prey came out on the Xbox 360 all those years ago in 2006, gamers were treated to the mind and gravity-bending adventures of spirit-walking Cherokee Indian Tommy Tawodi. Things in the Prey universe have been pretty quiet since then, but recently Bethesda announced it would be publishing the sequel known as Prey 2. So we captured Jim Sumwalt, the Chief Creative Officer and co-founder of the game's developers, Human Head Studios, and interrogated him before giving him up to some space alien mob bosses in return for 10,000 space credits. Bargain! Now tell us about Prey 2, Jim.
Prey 2 is a sequel, of course, to Prey 1. Prey 1 told the story of Tommy, a Native American who was sucked onto an alien ship that's called the Sphere. Prey 2 tells the story of a U.S. Marshal by the name of Killian Samuels. He's on an airplane, and his airplane gets sucked onto that very same sphere. And if you played Prey 1, Tommy actually witnesses that abduction. He fights for a little while on the sphere, trying to get off, just like Tommy. Halfway through the process, he gets biffed in the head, knocked out cold, and he's abducted by these slaver aliens. Later, he wakes up on a distant planet known as Exodus. He has no recollection of how the hell he got there, only just what happened on the sphere there. But evidently, people know him, and he's become a bit of a name as a bounty hunter. He's got a bunch of friends, he's got a ton of enemies. He thinks he's the only human on Exodus. That is until later when he runs into Tommy. So basically, this time around, it's more about being a predator. You know, both titles explored the predator-prey relationship. This time around, it's you being the predator. You hunt down criminal aliens as a bounty hunter in really cool open-world environments. It's pretty cool.
Prey was pretty innovative in terms of level design. You could walk up walls and mess around with gravity to reach your goals, you could leave your body and spirit walk through force fields, and you could even use portals, way before the game Portal had been properly released. Will we be seeing any more of these types of gameplay mechanics?
Those mechanics were part of the conditions of the sphere specifically. We're still all about doing mind-bending things and taking you on a roller coaster ride, but less so with those things. This time around it's about open world, it's about choice, it's about a host of really cool gadgets and huge armament, your ability to, what we call agile combat, your ability to scale walls, jump over obstacles, vault, the whole time you're able to fire. These gadgets that you can use in concert with your weapons, they're kind of like Batman has gadgets, right? They can allow you to choose to play stealthily if you want, or be more like Rambo. The world also promotes that because it's very vertical. So if you stay at ground level with the combatants, it's more kind of, balls out with rockets and stuff. But if you choose to, you can kind of climb up and get the jump on them and surprise them, more of a stealthy kind of thing.
And finally, when's it out and who will be able to play it?
It's coming out 2012 and it's a simultaneous release. It's on PS3, Xbox 360 and the PC.
Thanks, Jim. It was great to speak to you. Prey 2 wasn't really on my must-see list when Platform32 went to E3, but after witnessing the E3 demo, footage of which you've been watching in this feature, the game is definitely well on my radar, and I'm sure that there are many people just like me who are itching to play the game when it comes out next year. Now come on Jim, don't struggle, I've got space credits to collect. Come on, move it.
Target identified.
I'm Sean Robertson, lead artist on Bioshock Infinite, and you're watching Platform 32.
The first Bioshock, which was developed by Irrational Games, was pretty much a work of art. A sublime game which captivated players and lived on in their memories long after they had completed it. Bioshock 2, however, never achieved the same level of success. Developed by 2K Marin and coming complete with a shoehorned multiplayer mode which failed to capture the attention of gamers, Bioshock 2 quickly sank down the charts, and it's not uncommon to see a pre-owned version of the game going for cheaper than its predecessor. In the third instalment of the series, Irrational are back in charge, and in a complete change of visual style, the playing fields have been moved from underneath the sea to high above the clouds in a floating city, and as you can see from the gameplay footage here, it looks simply stunning. We spoke to lead artist Sean Robertson at E3 to find out more about this incredibly beautiful game.
In Bioshock Infinite, you play as Booker DeWitt. He is an ex-Pinkerton agent who is sent to the flying city of Columbia to rescue Elizabeth and bring her back down to Earth. Now, Elizabeth is being imprisoned by this guy right here, the Songbird, and he doesn't want to let her go, so there's a little bit of conflict there.
As lead artist on the game, you are responsible for its jaw-dropping visuals and art style. What goals were you trying to achieve with the graphics in Bioshock Infinite?
First of all, we have an amazing team. We have 23 artists back at the studio who just do a kick-ass job. And really, when we're creating a Bioshock game at Irrational, one of our main goals is to make the city or the environment that you're going to be exploring a character in itself. I mean, we really want to add the details that make people want to stay in that space and explore it, and let the narrative pull them through at their own pace. So that's really our goal, is to keep the players interested in just the space itself, and the narrative on top is gravy.
Gravy. One of the things that made people fall in love with the original Bioshock was the immense level of immersion. It was a fantasy world full of horror, dark humour and shocking twists, but thanks to the amazingly high production values, it was also a genuinely believable one. Will Bioshock Infinite live up to the standards set by the first game?
Our main goal is to tell a compelling story and have fantastic gameplay through that story. Those are the things that are driving people through the game. So I don't want to get too heavy into details like horror versus comedy versus drama. I mean, I will say that it will be a very compelling story, and that's our main goal. Is is make the player feel immersed, make them want to know what's around that next corner, make them attached to these characters that we're creating and feel for them and want to be pulled through the story.
So there we have it. The Bioshock universe is back in the hands of its creators, and it looks set to be one of the most breathtaking games of 2012. With art design that blows away any of its contemporaries, new fast-paced, exhilarating gameplay, and hopefully a storyline which will match the depth and detail of the first, the thought that there would be anyone in the world who would not want to play this game would just be Bioshocking. Oh man, that pun was awesome. I literally rule. Sadly though, there's no more time for any more punnage because the show is all but over. We'll be back soon though with another jam-packed P32 special, but in the meantime, if you can't wait for more, make sure you head across to our YouTube channel and subscribe because we have extended versions of all the interviews featured in today's show ready and waiting for you to peruse at your leisure. Not only that though, there are also reviews, previews, features, gameplay commentaries and loads more gaming related videos to watch, plus we even have exclusive competitions for you to enter if you so wish. Still not enough? Then check out our Facebooks and Twitters to get all social with us. Watch out for the URLs in the end credits. See you soon peeps, happy gaming!